the Celtics now with Tatum, that
Um,
injury now. I mean when I think I was listening to the game on the way back home and just hearing like this injury happened, just hear like Tatum went down and like just seeing it was like, man,
you don't
because
even know.
you know like the players know, we knew as well as like, oh man, it's
Yeah,
not good.
anybody that's
It,
if you got to watch the game and you saw what he was grabbing at when he was down on the floor, the area he was grabbing in, everybody already Achilles. Oh man, oh
yeah,
man. I think one thing that I'd say is the Celtics are drastically about to change now because they're under new ownership that said they want to keep the game together because of a new apron over to the league. So, anyways, are going to have to get traded anyway. So, Horford, Drew Holiday, could all see them gone. Maybe in Porzingis. Tatum's. Looking at it now, maybe Brown could be traded somewhere or even though I don't think they would, but then again, you never know with this league. Luca got traded. That's all need to be said. So anybody can be traded,
yeah.
but this Celtics team, by the time Tatum gets back, it'll be a whole different team, anyways, with the Celtics. Maybe you're hoping Brown will still be there, but like that personnel would be different. And KD is like a freak athlete that came back better somehow than he was before after Achilles. Shout out to KD. But it's like we don't know. Tatum work hard enough, you hope he come back, but it's just not the same when you have altering injuries like that.
Yeah, I think this with the new ownership and just like for Tatum is going to be different. When it's back, which I'm assuming he's not going to be playing at all next year unless he's able to come back and make a quicker than expected recovery. But I mean, to be it's going to be a different role because, like you said, the apron is going to be like they're paying so much, in the luxury tax. Like the number is absurd, and then they're paying so much in the second apron where you got Tatum's new extension kicking in this summer. You got Hauser and his extension kicking in. Derek White is the cheapest player and it's so funny because it's kind of an oxymoron, a cheap player at 28 million per year. You know,
Yeah,
you got him. You got Horford, Cornette, their free agents. So, what are you going to do? Because you're going to have to get your financial guys to do some. They're going to do some really heavy work. They kind of figure stuff out going forward. What are you going to do something with KP? Or are you going to do something with Dick White, Jalen Brown? It's just going to be a different team. For the Celtics, I mean, just thinking about them next year, thinking about the East next year, I mean, the East might not be good at all this year. I mean, what else is new? I guess, you just take a look at, the East and West side by side. It's just like, well, no, of course, duh. And then, but then you take it into account, like if Giannis goes out West, well,
yeah.
then the East becomes just like, it just
Just assuming like
becomes,
the East is gonna be
I
wide
don't know
open
what
for
the,
grabs.
it,
It'll be wide open for grabs with no really good teams outside of Cavs, Pacers. Celtics still gonna be a good team. We'll see what the 76ers look like being healthy, but who who knows? Those are like maybe the four teams you look at in the East that will probably be, good enough because Miami and Atlanta are out of there. Like I say, Trey Young probably be traded this offseason. But yeah, the East doesn't have a lot of options. The West is becoming more stacked, especially with Cooper Flagg. Well, assume Dallas takes Cooper Flagg. Hopefully Nico don't win on that pick. Or hopefully he doesn't trade it away to get Giannis, for a bill for a 3 year window instead of another 10+ year window. But who knows? Maybe Cooper Flag becomes with the potential there, and he stays. He'll play because lives up to his potential, and then you trade him away in 7 seasons anyway. So
yeah,
why not get Giannis to try to win one anyways? But
yeah,
I,
future former Dallas Maverick Cooper Flag.
yeah. But the West is always gonna be a gauntlet, and then it's like the teams gonna be here because LeBron. Let's face it, LeBron, KD, all the stars are old. They'll be gone. in a few more years. LeBron, KD, Steph, Kawhi. Just be. Once the OGs of the 2010s are really gone, you'll just be looking at it in the West. You're looking at obviously. You look at Jokic there. Jokic in his prime. This is prime Jokic, the best Jokic can ever be. My Thunder here to stay. Hopefully no injuries plague them like it did the first iteration of my OKC Big Three. That's another topic for another day. But yeah, so we know your Grizz is gonna be there. Ja, they should be there, assuming
I
you know.
hope they. I hope they're there.
But those I'm looking like the younger teams that are just gonna be there. Oh, and before I miss your point, I just can't believe I had a mind slip up, a brain hiccup, and forgot to mention Detroit in the East. Detroit is coming, so
Yeah,
Detroit
yeah,
could be a new upcoming powerhouse over there in the East. So it might not be set in stone, but we'll see. I even left out the Knicks too, didn't I? Or no, I said the Knicks. I was thinking
yeah.
but that was like the top 5 teams going back to the East. Like who should be there? We're assuming that's all that's in the East is Cavs, Knicks, Celtics, Pacers, and Pistons so far. Where the West is, woo man, this West is the West gonna be a gauntlet forever, as it always is in our lifetime
Yeah,
anyway. But
yeah. Well, hey, listen, you made a little bit of a you made a good transition there because Cooper Flagg is what I wanted to talk about next right there with the perfect timing right there. Hey, sometimes it just happens that way. But yeah, no, the draft lottery, of course, that happened on Monday night, and the Mavericks coming in with 1.8% of odds of getting the number one pick, come in and snatch that thing, and and I can just hear the millions of cries from Wizards
the
fans,
conspiracy's
Jazz
rigged.
fans.
Well, you look at it. You look at it. If it's rigged, think about it. Okay, Dallas, NBA, Silver, the higher ups. Hey, trade Luka to the Lakers. We need a storyline for the big market. Let's get another star in the big market. Hey, you give us Luka, we give you number one pick. It's the biggest conspiracy going around. Who knows if it's true or not? Point in case, anyways. No,
Yeah,
it is a lottery. It's a lottery, so anything can happen with that lottery. Whether you have a 100% chance to a 1.4 chance, if it's a lottery and we don't get to see what goes on behind them closed doors. But if it actually was a legit chance, like how the lottery is, Dallas just got lucky at the trading away Luka. But also, I kind of feel like this kind of detriments the point of teams tanking because hey, you tank to be the worst team and still don't end up with that number one pick. In my opinion, I still feel like the draft. I mean, not the draft, but like the number one pick, number 1 and 2 picks should go just like NFL should go to the worst teams in the league, 1 and 2. So if you ask me, I feel like because like how are the teams supposed to get better if they can't get that top number one pick when they obviously clearly should have got that number one pick. You're assuming they get it, because like
yeah,
sometimes a generational talent. Then again, I can't say that because I look at the Jokic and Draymond's second round talent. Jokic is generational talent in the second round, so no matter where you drafted at, you could still become the star that you'll be, a la Giannis, a la Kawhi. But like teams would just need a chance, especially rebuilding stage, especially when they've been in just a hole for 16, 20 plus years.
mm-hmm.
Like Charlotte should definitely want a number one pick. Like I don't think they had a number one pick since Kemba, right? No,
uh,
Kemba wasn't a number one pick. Oh,
no.
I'm
Oh
tripping.
man, I'm trying to think. Wait, I think well, I think the closest I got, I think this is me just pulling it out,
Yeah.
like a rabbit out of the hat, but it's just like I think it was at the White Howard draft where they ended up getting number two, so they didn't get number one. But I think, oh man, I think it was like a Emeka Okafor. We got a Emeka Okafor mention on this pod, but
But yeah, it's like to me, like I feel like the worst teams, like the Jazz, should definitely been in that top 4. Surprised 76ers was there, but if they would have fell out, Oklahoma would have got their pick anyways. But
yeah,
it's just looking. Imagine the Sixers would have got Cooper Flag though. Now that would have been something. But I feel like Cooper to reach his potential too. people want him to like they're saying trade him now to a team so he can actually develop and stuff. No, it would be perfect situation for him to play against alongside Kyrie and AD. And I feel like he could come through and contribute right away because he won't be asked to be the star. He'll just be asked to provide buckets and playing with Kyrie and AD. They'll want him to elevate this game and be what everybody expects him to be anyway. And then
Yeah.
it's like one thing they're kind of just full of forwards anyways because they're very full of forwards. But I figured they'll probably make some trades here and there. All
Oh
in all,
yeah.
Cooper comes in how everybody expects him to come in anyway. He should start alongside them. You'll probably look at a lineup: Kyrie, maybe Max Christie, or maybe Kyrie Clay. Maybe Christie to the bench. Kyrie Clay, Cooper, AD, Lively. Just it's just one I'm assuming. But I feel like that would be a perfect situation for Cooper to come into. Even though they're saying win now, Cooper plays defense, and we know we're just assuming the potential that he'll get. So it's not a bad rookie situation to come into.
Yeah. Now, there's a couple of points I want to hit on. So I told you beforehand, I read this and it kind of blew my mind. And I thought about it. I was like, no, it's not that surprising. So we know how shortchanged the East has been in the lottery. Like, they got it in the weak draft last year. But, since 2019, there have been all five teams have now had six different top two finishes in the last 7 years. And in the last
Wow.
eight drafts, at least one team in that division has ended up getting a top two pick. So it's just like you think about the talent that has gone in that division alone. Like you think you think Wimby, you think Jalen Green, Zion, and then you think about guys that were outside of the top, top two, because you had Luca, you had Jaron, you had Amon Thompson, Jabari Smith, and then last year you got Stephon Castle reached seven.
Yep.
So it's
Uh,
just like crazy, just the amount of talent this division has accumulated. And then you take a look at the Eastern Conference teams, and they're probably like, "Well, what are we doing here? All this whole division is getting the talent that we want."
yeah. Like I say, man, I feel like the worst teams should just be in the runnings to get the top four worst teams should always just get them top four picks because you can't develop if you don't get the talent to
Yeah,
bring in alongside and the picks and stuff. That's kind of where Charlotte been stuck at. Sacramento looking like they'll be right back there once the Rosen, finally leaves off their contract, Levine and stuff. I just hate it for teams to be stuck in mediocrity, for years. Especially like, look how long it took the Pistons to finally just get back.
yeah,
It looked like they'll be a super good team in the years to come, but obviously they made the playoffs, with Reggie Jackson and their squad. But we're talking about for the Pistons to actually be able to compete for championships again. And
yeah,
we're assuming they'll get better than what they did this year. So
yeah. I mean,
it's just like they were in mediocrity for so long, with the Kings and Hornets have been terrible. Even going back to the Bobcats, like sure they made the playoffs a couple times, with the Kimber team, but they ain't never been in any situation that realistically win. We're just gonna always expect them to be a bottom tier team.
I mean,
It's
it's pretty
sad.
much like death, taxes, and the Hornets always being bad. I mean, that's just the way that it's been, man. No, because I look at the Jazz, and
but
think about like what they've
but I
been
think Danny
through.
Ainge is actually trying. I think Danny Ainge is gonna get a company team for the Jazz.
I think so too. Like, I mean, they get number five. I think they're gonna get a. They're not gonna get like Flag or Harper there, but they're gonna get somebody good there at five. But I mean, you look back at the Pistons. When they fell out, they got a Sir
Yeah,
Thompson. They
you,
got Jalen Duran. A
yeah.
little bit
You
later on.
think
So like all these guys that have key contributors for him now in the playoffs, they were taking, as not like number one, number two, number three draft picks. They were taken later. So I mean, it can be done. It's just about hitting the right player, finding the right player for your team, and then developing them with uh, the environment that you got going on. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, that just particularly kind of shocked me. I think going back to the Dallas point of things, I've been kind of thinking about immediately when they first got the pick, I'm like, okay, I could see this as them trading for Giannis, but then you see the report come out and saying like they're going to take Cooper Flagg. That's pretty much set in stone. So I'm
Yeah,
looking at them like, okay, it sounds like they're going to do that. Will they go with the option of just building him around, having him around AD and Kyrie and all that stuff, or do you maybe change your timeline? Do you change your timeline and say like, hey, Kyrie has this ACL injury. He's going to miss most of next season.
yeah,
And you take a look at your forward situation, like you said, because I don't know what Cooper Flagg is going to play. Whether he might end up being like what Tatum is for Boston now, just playing the four, but playing as a playmaking, shot creating four. That could be the case there. But I'm just like, and AD doesn't want to play center. So
yeah.
if that's the move, then maybe say, hey, let's let's trade AD. Let's readjust the timeline a little bit and try to get everything going on Cooper Flagg's timeline, and where you build around him. You trade him. Maybe you keep Gafford and Lively, have that going on. You still have PJ Washington. So I think just like because there will be some team out there that would trade for AD. There would be some team out there that would trade some quality assets for AD. So I'm just kind of like thinking, now that we're in the Cooper Flagg era of Dallas, I'm kind of leaning towards option two, to where you readjust things on his timeline and kind of recoup what you traded from the Luka trade, and just like put that in the rearview window and trade AD. But I mean, if they go with the first option, just say, hey, we're going to just drop Flag in here with AD, Lively, and maybe you trade Gafford or, Washington or something like that, and drop him in that, offense, then I think, okay, fine. You got an interesting lineup out there. Um, so we'll have to see. But I don't know. Those have been the two kind of things that are going on in my head in particular with the whole Dallas thing. What do you think about that? Readjusting, the timeline. Where are you kind of on with that?
Well, let's assume they Nico, Nico. Let's assume he just let's assume they keep Cooper Flag. Obviously, he'll have to just timeline. He'll probably still get them another three-year window. No, Kyrie won't be back next season after ACL tear. So let's just push for the 2027 season. Excuse me. Like I say, you're gonna have the players there. Like I say, you trade away some contracts. They're very forward heavy on the Mavericks. Who knows if Gaffer will be gone after this year? This off season. You'll still have Lively. AD should still be there. As long as you can plug pieces around. Let's assume you keep Clay, Kyrie. You keep most of the original starting five that they took for this season, that we got to see probably play like together once, all healthy.
Yeah.
But but yeah, they'll be there, and you can always plug and mix the pieces. Like Dallas is going to be a great defensive team, and the offense isn't going to vary either. So as long as they plug pieces, I get them a good, like Nico said, it's a good 3-year window to try and get it done. It's just gonna suck if they don't, whether it be injuries or anything else that happens. Everything just gonna suck if they don't get it done. Train away Luka, because you'll be looking and saying, "Wow, wow, one of the
Yeah.
most all-time generational fumbles, maybe." I
Yeah.
mean, like that's literally how you gotta look at it. And Nico isn't gonna be off the hook. Luka didn't win this year, which anyone expecting the Lakers to win this year is just, that's absurd. No way were they gonna win. but this Cooper, like, and I say in this next 3-year period, as long as Cooper gets to play his game and actually takes his time and develops himself, we'll probably be looking at another superstar.
I think so too. I will say I did hear my boy Tony Allen. Love the guy. Love him. I did hear him say like he thinks he can be like an Andre Karolinko type, which is like, oh man, Andre Karolinko. So it was,
But
so
Andre, if you look at it now during the league today, Andre Karolinko, he was already a beast back then. I think
oh yeah,
he'll be tied as a star in today's league. If you want to be
yeah,
honest about it, he's a
oh yeah,
he's a power forward that can shoot the skin off the ball, could dribble, super athletic, could defend, passing. decent. You put him in the right system and stuff, he could be a star. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't. That it ain't a bad take. I kind of get where Tony Allen going because Cooper can get better on his ball handling, which he has a decent handle, but he can get better at that. He plays defense, like I say, he defends, which is very rare for offensive talent like him. But
yeah,
like I say, it'll take his time to develop. But Andre Karolinko, it looks bad. Looking back, like Andre Karolinko, I mean, he was a great role player, but that's not superstar status. We expect Coop to be a star, but hell,
yeah,
Karolinko would be a star in today's league. Keeping it one. No, that's why I look at like it just goes showing the lead that you don't gotta be the most athletic or the fastest because we got guys like Jokic and Luka dominating.
yeah,
People gonna look,
yeah.
they'll look back and they'll be like, "How y'all letting these slow guys dominate like this?" And I'm like, "Hey, there's more to the game." It's why they get Larry Bird so much slack. They're saying Larry Bird, like the younger generation, they don't think Larry Bird would be cold in this generation. I'm like, dude, Larry would be a beast. He's 6'9", can shoot the skin off
Yeah,
the ball. He can pass the ball. Like Larry was cold. I say, and for anybody saying he would be too slow and not fast, I'm like literally Luka and Jokic, literally Luka and Jokic,
I mean,
arguably
right?
two of the
Yeah,
best players in the world right now. Like
yeah,
so what are we saying here?
yeah,
And then Cooper lives
yeah,
up to the potential everybody taps him to. Hey,
yeah. But I mean, hey, listen. I think for Dallas, I mean, this is obviously great for them. They get you know their next big guy in there, and like, listen, whatever happens, I mean, hey, I mean, if you do decide to say, hey, we're going to readjust the timeline, you get assets. Like, hey, next year's draft
yeah,
is looking really good too, because you got three potential guys coming in, and AJ Dibon Santa, I think that's how you say his last name, Derek Peterson, and then Charles, get ready to feel old, Carlos Boozer's son. You know,
yeah, yeah,
it's like,
yeah. Me and you grew up watching Carlos Boozer. Like,
man,
that's crazy. We're saying like we're getting to that unk status now because I turned 30 at the end of the month. So it's just like looking at it now. We seeing all the stars we grew up watching. We seeing
yeah,
all their sons coming to the league.
yeah.
Yeah. You think
So
the
I mean,
Spurs take Harper? You think the Spurs take Harper at two? Because everybody's assuming Coop won. Harper is two.
I think the Spurs are an interesting thing because they got those and they got two options on the table too because they could do
Because to get Giannis and
yeah
try,
I think I mean because I mean oh
maybe
my goodness
Castle of Vassell are probably gone. Let's be honest about that. They said they want to keep Castle. So Vassell, probably Keldon Johnson, be
yeah
odd man
because you're gonna
out.
have to
They got
you're gonna
picks.
have to match some salaries too because of
Yeah.
Giannis's contract so I mean I don't know I think I mean oh my goodness just thinking about the length with Giannis and Wemby just like that's
Yeah,
nuts
that defense,
that's stupid
goodness, goodness scoring at the rim with them gonna be Hail Marys. They're gonna turn teams into jump shooting teams.
yeah
And the only way you'll get them is if you making the shots. It'd be a tough ass, or you got bigs that can go bang down there scoring bigs. Feel like,
yeah
like I
I
mean,
so
it's just gonna
I,
be tough.
I don't know. I think just from what they're saying, I think it's kind of like I mean, this is obviously super early in the process. I think Dylan Harper is going to be the guy there. He's a big guard. You pair him with Castle. Like I think you can count on those two guys to develop their shooting. But Harper is a 1A type of
Oh,
playmaker, ball creator. I think Castle could probably play off the ball more, but Harper is that guy that you put the ball in his hands and he'll lead this team. I think that'd be a good running mate for Wimby to add him. And
yeah,
like you got this nice group of guys that can play and develop together. But that also what does that mean for De'Aaron Fox? Because you just got him. Was that are you gonna put Harper on the bench and be like this uh, super sixth man? Have him play that type of role his first year. I don't know, but I think that's kind of where they're going. I think Harper's probably where
okay.
I would go, but they are super big contenders for Giannis right now. Like them, Houston. I think I think Giannis you add him to San Antonio. I mean, goodness gracious, but
Yeah, that's.
it would be as a Grizzly fan, I don't like either of these options for either of these teams because either one of them is not great for me. Because like
Yeah, yeah.
I'm looking at
It's just
these
like
teams, I'm like,
it's
man,
like
come on.
it, it's like you make the West tougher. It's like they been like, how can the West be tougher? Oh, let's send Giannis to Wemby. Let's pair Giannis and Wemby. That's even tough for my Thunder too, man. Jeez, bro.
Well, like it's just
Like
kind of crazy to think
If
about.
Giannis pairs with Wemby, you better make sure your team has plenty of centers and rim protection and rebounding. We know
Yeah,
Houston would be good. Houston would be good. My Thunder would fare pretty good, but a lot of teams wouldn't be equipped to guard that.
yeah. I think to talk about Giannis real quick. I think just based off everything that has been talked about, like there's been no official trade request yet, but it seems like he would want to go to play with someone that has another star like beside him, a place where like there's no state income tax, and so everybody's like, okay, who are the teams that have no state income tax? And like, oh, we
A
got
lot
San
of Texas
Antonio, we
teams.
got
Yep, the Texas
Houston,
teams.
uh, and the Grizzlies are on that list too.
Really?
So,
Really?
mm-hmm, yeah,
That would be
really,
nice, but you'll have to definitely have some shoes for John Giannis. Like
yeah,
that's the only thing. Like I said, if he did go to Memphis, I think Memphis would be better suited to try and go after KD, and they already want KD. So we know in the running for as far as I ain't mean to tilt off that subject, anyways. But like thinking about it, like as far as KD sweepstakes go, Houston, they're looking for that score. They got the
yeah,
bad like Houston. To me, the teams that can make trades for like the Giannis or the KDs, sure Memphis got the assets, they got picks, obviously. I honestly, if you get one now, I probably do think Jaren would probably be an odd man out, unless you want to throw Bane in there. So you'll see how it go. Either getting either or the two. My
yeah,
Thunder and my Rockets, they feel like some of the best teams that had the best chance to trade for those guys.
yeah. Like, listen, I love Bane and I love Jaren, but if you tell
But
me, hey, you can
Giannis
have
for him,
Giannis or KD, like, shoot, where can I go? When can I go
KD's on the
pack their
older
bags?
side, but KD guarantees you another score at an elite level still, even in his old age. And as long as you got good role players, Memphis could definitely make some noise. But you get KD, you're definitely in win now mode. So I said it would be the same with Giannis, but
Yeah,
it
yeah, and I
it
think I'm just kind of thinking about it. Um, I think if it is if it's Giannis, I think you trade Jaren because I mean
yeah.
there's a lot of other good offers out there, but who else is offering a two-time All-Star who continues to develop well, who's already won Defensive Player of the Year once before, that is 25, 26 years old? I mean, that's hard to come by. I think if it's KD, you probably trade Bane and let that be your guy because I think it kind of, I've been kind of
Yeah,
thinking about
because
this. You can tell I've been thinking about this
yeah,
because,
because you plug
um,
KD at the three, you get Giannis. There's no need for Jaren because they're
yeah,
they're playing the same, essentially the same thing. You're not going to play Giannis at the center, and Jaren, I
yeah,
don't think you would want Jaren to play the center either because he'll be more of a small ball center in my opinion at that
yeah.
six
Because I
ten, six
think
eleven range.
if you trade if you do Giannis, I think you trade Jaren and you get Bane for the floor spacing, and I think that would help put Bane in that definite role of like he's the third option of the team. It's Giannis,
But he'll
Ja,
get
and
so
then
many
Bane, and then
opportunities
Bane's
with
that floor spacer.
yeah, he'll get so many opportunities with Giannis and Ja. It's just like with both Ja and Giannis, and Ja trying to improve his shooting. Giannis has improved his shooting. He got a consistent mid range now, but like you don't want it too clunky, so you at least have to have two more shooters out there. You have to have Bane and whoever you put at that first small forward spot.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
but
you just gotta have a shooting around. That's the only knick-knack. I feel
yeah,
like the
I
Rockets wouldn't go for Giannis, so they'll need a KD because they had a defense and a rebound, and they just need more shooting. That's really what they need. Now
yeah,
my Thunder,
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
right
no,
now we get eliminated if we lose. If we could go pick up Giannis or KD, I'm not even mad. Obviously, I hate to lose some of the depth or some of the team we had, but like I say, Oklahoma, we're draft good, gonna have a million more picks to go, and we already got an established team. I do feel like if we try to trade anybody, J Dub, some people saying Chet, I feel like Hardenstein will really realistically get traded. Could possibly move Caruso contract, but Caruso been so important this whole playoff run. You'll probably try to hang on to him. Hardenstein was very big too, but to get one of those stars, I feel like he'll have to be gone. I can't see us trading Chet, but if we did trade Chet, it'd be like, well, Chet gets to actually go develop and blossom somewhere else. But I can't see Thunder trading Chet. I feel like the most untouchable, obviously Shea, no shade. I feel like out of that big three and with contracts and stuff, and Sam Presti already is proclaimed that he don't care about the apron, none of that. He's gonna pay to keep the players he wants. He's been very adamant about that. I think he doesn't want to make that same James Harden mistake. So that's why everybody's saying we can't afford to pay with the new apron. You can't afford to have 3 stars on big max contracts. I mean, there's leeway, and with some stars might not even want to sign a contract with endorsements and stuff. Shea is literally that's an extension for his contract. It meets our requirements, so he gonna get his max either way.
Yeah.
You sign J Dub, but who's to say J Dub and Chet won't take pay cuts? Because they're making so much money. We know with endorsements and here and there. Not saying they don't deserve the money that they should get, but like who say they won't take a pay cut to keep the team together and get pieces. But once again, I say you could probably see J Dub getting traded, especially if he has a bad out in this playoffs. Won't want to give up on him yet, but it just comes with territory. They probably looking at this like 2 years in a row now. Last year, your first year in the playoffs. This your second year. You made the All-Star, which shows you're very capable of being that star in the series, and you just flat out haven't been good for us when we need you the most in this series. So none of those things to look at. Possibly could be traded. Maybe you could throw Lou Dort in there, but I say Lou is like a staple to the team. But how many staples to teams have we saw get traded now? Once again, Luka got traded, so anybody can be traded. So, I ain't going to the players you keep. Or maybe throw in some role players, Isaiah Joe. Well, I see I Joe go, but you get KD or Giannis. Because think about it. Let's say the Thunder King they don't end up training the majority of starting five. Say we lose Hardenstein, we can always plug and play. We still got Jalen Williams. So I might even trade Jalen Williams. Say Thunder would go get some more bigs to help Chet out. But you're looking at a lineup of essentially, let's say Shea, Lou Dort. You keep J Dub, you keep Chet and KD. Chet would obviously be our center. We just need some backup centers. But think about that starting five though, right now. You plugging KD there. That's nuts.
It's a 2K lineup, man. It's a 2K lineup.
That would be nuts, though. And the Thunder
would absolutely be a 2K lineup right there.
But the Thunder, they would definitely had a team.
I don't know. I mean, this offseason. They're going to be the 2 guys that everybody's going to be looking at, like, okay, what's Phoenix going to do? What's Giannis going to do? And
we know KD is gone. We know for a fact KD getting traded this summer. It's over with.
It's just a matter of where.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of where, So we'll definitely have to see. Those are going to be the key things we're going to be keeping an eye on. But the Giannis thing especially, we're going to be keeping an eye on that. Another team we didn't really talk about with the draft, Philly, because they're number 3 now, like what they do, but I don't know, but I'm really curious to see what's going to happen now because the lottery really shook. It turned everything on its head, with Dallas getting number 1, San Antonio getting number 2 and jumping up there, and so now we got all this talk now, like, hey, could Giannis go to San Antonio? What could Dallas maybe do? It's just like this whole lottery thing, man. It's just really kind of turned everything on its head, and just like, okay, we're thinking about things we weren't thinking about before a week ago. So it's just that's just the way the NBA goes, man. I mean, that's the way sports goes, in general. Because one week you think you know something, then next week, boom, something changes. You gotta adjust your perspective.
I think I'm more excited. Like, whatever we get in the finals is, and people might not want to tune in. I think the Knicks make the finals though. Just New York alone is gonna bring up the viewership to crazy amount of numbers. Man. But like, depending on what series we get, yada yada. I think And then we didn't get the match. We're not getting the matchups that we thought we were going to get in the finals by far, anyways. Because Cavs are gone, Celtics look like they could be gone. So we know at least on that
Yeah.
end we ain't getting that matchup we thought from the East. But I think I'm a little bit more excited for the offseason, just see what happens. Like if we lose, what am my Thunder willing to do? Are we able to hold at bay and keep rocking out, letting our players keep developing? Because like I say, it took Tatum and Jaylen Brown 7 years. I still don't think it'll take my Thunder team 7 years to get that chip. I do feel like if we don't get it this year, we'll definitely be primed for next year or the year after that to get at least one championship.
Yeah.
But
No, all season should be interesting. It should be interesting. Those Giannis and KD trade rumors going to feed Grizzly fans for the
yeah,
next few months, man. It's going to be a
I would not be mad if KD went to Grizzlies. He'll look great in that Grizzlies uniform, man. In
I
that
mean, I,
blue,
I,
yeah, I would get a
I'm
killer. It's crazy
yeah.
how the ties returned too. Rhino went from being dominating foes in the playoffs to having one of their all time greats join your favorite franchise.
I mean,
Let's
I
face it,
would think
Giant
back to
KD would be fun too.
2007. Oh no, it would be. I'm thinking back to 2007. When KD went number two, and I really wanted him, and we end up getting the fourth pick, and we get Conley. Which listen, I love Conley. Like Conley's had his moments
Yeah.
here in these playoffs here. Which Charles, I
Hey.
went down a little bit of a rabbit hole
Yeah.
because I was thinking about this the other day when I think, oh, was it Jeff Green was still playing? I was like, man,
Oh
Jeff
man.
Green's still playing, and I was
Yeah.
like, wait, hold up, and I looked back. It's like, sure enough, four of the top five picks from the '07 draft are still playing today. Because you got KD still playing, he's playing meaningful ball.
Jeff Green
Al
still playing.
Horford,
Yep.
Conley. It's like those four guys are still hooping. Like Jeff Green isn't like there's no meaningful minutes, but like he's still in the league. So it's just like, man, those guys are still hooping and they're still providing valuable minutes for like Conley and Horford. They're still like Conley's starting for the Wolves for goodness sake. So,
Yeah.
um,
Hey, one thing we could be happy about. We see me as a Thunder fan, Westbrook. That they get past us. There's a chance for Westbrook to get his first ring finally, or Conley to
yeah.
get his first ring. So we should be happy for our past players too.
Oh yeah, like listen, Conley. I would love it for him, and like he said it best. Like I don't got long, man. I don't got long, man. So it's just like, yeah, man. I would love to see him get a ring, and maybe that says like, hey, he says like, hey, I'm done. I'm gonna call a career, and then finally we get his, jersey retirement ceremony in FedEx form, and then you see
Jersey
all four
retirement done.
jerseys
Yeah.
up in the rafters. Like I saw it the other day. I saw it. What was it? Game three or something like that. Game three, and it was like after they had retired Tony's. I'm like, there's only one more to go. And it's just like Conley, hurry up, my guy. We need to get all four up there. So, but I mean, no, yeah. I mean, listen, I would love it if KD became a Grizzly. It would be so crazy. I think it's just like the fact, like, oh, hey, I wanted Bagley back years ago. I wanted KD back years ago. It's just basically like, hey, let's give Ryan the players he wanted on the Grizzlies, but just like all these years later.
Yeah.
I feel like it's at this point. I'm just going to have to search through past strats to see who else I wanted and just say like, hey, are they still in the league? Can we go get them? So, no, it should be
Big
the off season should
bombshell.
be a fun time.
Instead of going after Giannis and KD, Grizzlies throw the house to get Jokic.
Hey, I mean, listen,
Jokic and
everybody
Memphis
is
would be.
tradable.
Jokic and Memphis would be crazy.
I mean, he's like a super. He's like a souped up Marcus All. Like I mean, like just like think about like
Nah,
how
I
Mark
wouldn't
was
even,
playing this
nah,
game.
I don't think you can make that comparison. I wouldn't even say
Well,
souped up
I'm just
Marcus
saying as
Gasol.
far
He'll
as like
be.
how they play, like how
He'll
they
be.
play and like how they operate. Like he's a Superman Marcus Saul, and just like what he's able to do. Like just thinking like how Mark played. Like there's a lot of like and just being like a guy that had all was
Yeah.
a
Mark was by far
crazy
better.
good passer.
Yeah, he's by far a better defender than Jokic by far.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's true. I'm just man.
Because a lot
Man,
of a
Charles, you're
lot of
gonna make
these,
me want to get out 2K
yeah,
to
yeah,
get this
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, get the scenarios going.
Man, but no, man. All season should be interesting, and we'll have to see how these series go because we still got the conference finals, and we'll see about Knicks Pacers. Didn't touch on that a whole lot, but man, what another series for the '90s fans. get hyped about with those two. Like I don't know who's going to be on the call for the East Finals. I don't know if TNT has got it or if ESPN has got it, but man, if TNT has got it, you got to get Reggie Miller on the call for at least one of those games, man. Considering like his history with the Pacers and Knicks
He will
in those types of
he will
games.
be on there. This was last year for TNT doing NBA games too. Because
Yeah,
Chuck and all the guys, Kenny, Shaq, Ernie, all they're going to ESPN. So Barkley, he always gonna speak his mind where he's at. But interesting enough, NBC is coming back with the NBA, and I'm in love with that. And then you get reports that Michael Jordan's coming out because
yeah,
Mike is just like Kawhi. Especially I feel like when Kawhi retires, we'll probably never hear from him again. It'd be rare. He'll be like the dinosaur you never see. That's what Jordan is. And, everybody's gonna tune in if Jordan's doing a podcast or talking basketball as an analyst anywhere, and they have him like as a special contributor for NBC. So we look out there watching NBC games, Jordan interviewing, and I saw a meme like that yesterday, showing we could possibly see this next year, next
man,
season. Like that
yeah.
would be fun. Or Jimmy Butler, both from never being the son allegations. Maybe Jimmy after this playoff showing, but but yeah, like I can't wait to see the NBA and NBC get that old NBA theme back.
Oh,
you know,
oh man.
I love it. That's gonna bring back so much nostalgia because I was born in the '90s. You just remember so much Woodward growing up from that time. So
Yeah, man.
I think it's gonna be fun. Have we ever been this excited for another season? Because we know Giannis is possibly getting moved. KD is gone for sure. What teams are
Mm,
going to be shooken up after this year draft? Cooper Flagg. Oh my goodness. Can I just
I
can I
don't know.
just can I just fast forward to October 17th next season? Next year, October 17th later this year.
Man, we might have to. We might have to. Well, I mean, as an OKC fan, probably so. As a Grizzly fan, I'm kind of like, listen, man. I just had the unfortunate nature of just seeing my Grizzlies get thoroughly demolished, and well, not in every game, but in two of the games at least. But but it's just I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm kind
yeah,
of like, let's just kind of take a hard reset. Honestly, if I'm gonna be honest, I got a lot of excitement for my Titans right now. With them having the number one pick and then
Oh,
them
right. That's
getting
right. They
Cam
did.
Ward.
Yeah, that's right. They did get the number one pick.
So I'm really excited about Cam Ward though, man. It's been rare for me to be excited as a Titans fan. I mean, other than when Derrick Henry was playing, but it's I haven't been this excited about a Titans quarterback in a long time, man. I think that dude's gonna be special. So I'm honestly might be a little bit more excited about that because I don't know what to expect from the Grizz. We'll just have to see. What the offseason brings us. Who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe they do make that trade for Giannis, and that is like, okay, Titans, you go back over here.
Hey,
Grizzlies come back over here. We got Ja and Giannis and
hey,
Dame. Like,
Tennessee
okay, we're
fan,
ready to roll.
Tennessee fans gonna be eating. Just know that.
Man,
Or where everybody's assuming teams would go. Giannis will have 2 more years left on his contract, so they can say where he wants to get traded. Look at his options, but realistically, the Bucks could be like, "We're gonna hold you here, or we're gonna trade you where we want to trade you." So everybody's assuming Giannis maybe to Dallas, wherever. Giannis could end up on the Hornets. I mean, because let's face, Hornets had plenty of picks and player contracts to throw. And whatever team gets Giannis, the Bucks are going to want a full load. It'll be more than what you get for Luca, the
mm,
blueprint on that. So
yeah,
yeah, that's that would be something. Giannis on the Hornets, he'll instantly make them 20 times better. Especially if they
man,
can manage to keep LaMelo in, and they'll get Miller back, Brandon Miller back, and then you just go from there.
man. That would be something. It'd be the first time the Hornets would be actually good in a long time in our lifetime,
Maybe,
man.
maybe the Jazz get him.
I mean, hey, let's see. I don't know what they would have to give up. They might have to give up marketing.
Marketing and Giannis. That would
Man,
that would be bad.
no, it wouldn't. I don't know if I think they'd probably have to give up marketing if they were going to do that. I don't know, but
Or the Pistons go all in and go for Giannis. Giannis and Cade. Man,
maybe, maybe,
maybe Atlanta. Let's get Trae Young some actual help. That would be nasty. That would be fun to watch. Trae Young and Giannis.
yeah, it would be. So
Or if the
Yeah,
Spurs do end up getting Giannis, I don't think Chris Paul retires. I think he stays and plays another year.
yeah, that's yeah. I mean, you got the Chris Paul of it all. He's still hooping.
I
So
really would love to see CP3 win the ring too, man.
as an NBA fan, sure. As a Grizzly fan, nah.
Uh,
There's too much hate from those Clippers Grizzlies rivalries back years ago.
that's fair. That's valid. That's fair.